Nice. I can't hear you. That looks more mysterious.
This does.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Oh.
I wanted you with a picture of like a kangaroo in the background or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, you're drinking a beer? I just woke up.
Bourbon.
Bourbon? INFPs don't drink, Brett.
I think you'll find that a lot of them have addictions.
Well, okay, yeah, I drink a little bit too. It's hard to cope sometimes, man. It takes the edge off. Fireball.
It's got the cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cinnamon flavor.
Oh, I've had that like in my younger days. That was like the big thing with all that cinnamon stuff. What time is it there?
Almost 10:15.
8:15 here in the morning. It's funny how like coming into this thing, it's like trying to set up like a meeting with another INFP. It gets to the point where it's like, no, it's okay. Whenever you want, I'll be adaptable. You be adaptable. I'll be adaptable. It's like it's hard to kind of press a time frame. So it's, I don't know. Every time I set these up with somebody, it gets into like some kind of like back and forth volleyball tournament of making a decision.
Did you write down some questions or anything like that to start the ball rolling, or?
Nope.
Right, just checking. Anyway, cheers.
Bourbon, coffee. So it's always hard to get started, man. I'm telling you, after we get started, then it'll like start going. But right now it's like I gotta somehow introduce you. This one, it's just early for me. So like my brain is not in full speed right now. So I took a huge dose of caffeine like a half hour before we got on here, but I'm still not fully like awake yet. All right, here we go. All right, so Brett, thanks for joining me. You are all the way over in Australia, and it's super early for me, so I appreciate you taking the night shift because that is more preferred for us. So you and I go way back when I first started YouTube, obviously. The viewers obviously don't know that, but you sent a pretty long, sweet comment. I don't even know what video it was. Do you remember what it was?
I'm trying to think now. Basically, I just remember that was the first video I'd seen of you, I think, and then I just resonated with it. Whatever you were talking about really hit home to me. So I just had to let you know. Like it was because I just discovered MBTI and I just figured out why I am the way I am. And then it was really good to hear someone that sounds so much like me that I just can't recall what it was, which episode, but it would have been one of your early ones, like 2 or 3 in.
There's a good handful of people that have been with me since the beginning, and I remember you're one of them where like that whole comment, like I was literally still doing this traveling job I'm doing now, but I was like sitting in the airport. I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting on this side. I wasn't even in my terminal to board. I was in a whole other one because there's not a lot of people over there. So I remember I was sitting kind of by myself in a big area with a whole bunch of empty seats, and I was reading it, and it like totally choked me up. I was all messed up. So it's like,
that's right, you're crying like a baby, I know.
No, I know, but it was like the plane was like boarding. So I had to like quickly compose myself. But yeah, it's one of those things where you don't intentionally plan to do that. It's just like when I get caught up in something, I'm not like, I don't know. I think a lot of people view INFPs as big crybabies out in public and things like that. And that's just really, I see it not the case, but there's certain things that will choke me up when I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think I won't cry in public. It has to be a big issue, like a funeral or of someone I really cared about, or if no one will know. Usually, it could be the smallest thing. Just one memory, and that's enough to just trigger it.
Yeah, it hits me like really fast, and that's what it was. It wasn't like I was sad, you know. It's like it was one of those things, relatable, like something you said, like, you know, halfway through the first paragraph triggered, and I'm just like, I couldn't. It just immediate, it like comes out. I'm like, what the? So whatever it triggers, some kind of thing in the past or the relatable quality, it's like it's just kind of a comforting thing. So
I would guess that it was a validation of sorts for me, because for me it was a validation. Like it was like, oh wow, that's I'm not the only one, you know, and I don't feel so weird, you know, or different.
You're still weird, Brett. Let's not take that away. But so you found this stuff what, like about 2 years ago or something like that? That's kind of where you're at with finding it.
Must be close to 2 years ago. Yeah, it must be getting close.
And you're like old, so like you found this stuff. I mean, you're like really old, like really old.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. But it's like I see a lot of people, and there's a lot of commenters and stuff like that viewers that comment, whatever you want to call them. But a lot of them, they'll find it like when they're super young. And I found it when I was 30. You found it when I don't know if you want to share your age with the viewing audience, but.
Well, no, that's fine. I'm 48. Yeah.
I thought you were like 50.
Okay. Well, let's not get carried away. That friendship might not last too long.
But like some of them, a lot of them find, you know, like in their 20s, early 20s, thing like that. So like, I know when I found it, so you've obviously managed to make your whole life, and your lifestyle is super like intriguing to me, because since we've talked, like FaceTime and things like that over the, you know, year and a half, whatever, we found each other. But just your lifestyle is something that, like, I found MBTI when I was like around 28 or somewhere around there. So it's been about 10 years for me, but like kind of right when I found it and started getting that validation that all the crazy stuff that I'm doing is not crazy, then I started to kind of give me a little bit extra empowering to kind of go off on my own path away from all that, you know, things of the American dream and you got to buy this, you got to get all this materialistic things, you got to do whatever it says. It kind of helped me gain that individual power to go that route. And for you, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to take my lifestyle as it is now, because I realize that going up the corporate ladder and making a ton of money do not bring like true long-term happiness. So I am steering my life down towards, you know, I don't know if I'll get to your level of coolness, but like, I mean, tracking in Mexico for like months. But no, your lifestyle, it's like MBTI didn't help you with that. You started this from an early age, and it's like you just kind of went on your own path. So I'm just interested to share that with the viewers, and please go on.
Well, just before I say that, I wouldn't mind just talking about the opposite. You know, because say you found it early, I found it late, and I've tried to figure out if I regret finding it later, or which would be better, to find it later or to find it earlier. I guess it depends on the individual, but for me, well, you just explained how it made you feel when you found it. So I get a little bit of that, but I also get a bit of, I don't know, I'm glad I didn't find it earlier. It could have gone the other way. I'm glad it went the way it went, where I've discovered it later. I don't know how I didn't come across it earlier. I guess because I was just too busy doing things. For me, now I get a bit of that validation where, oh, wow, it feels I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing. This is the way I'm supposed to do it. And it just set it more in concrete, where I don't have to change. I can now say to people, no, this is who I am. I'm not weird. This is how I'm supposed to be.
But do you think, but that's what I'm saying. So playing with that tone right there, or that note, it's like, do you think that you probably did reserve yourself a little bit more than you would if you would have found it earlier, where, because like you're saying, it did validate you, and you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to keep on doing this because it's okay. It's okay to be like this, even though the majority of society says not to be like this. But
well, the thing with me is I just did it anyway.
Well,
without
but
knowing it. Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. That's the weird thing. I've been trying to figure out what would have happened if I had have found it earlier.
I think for you, it just would have enhanced it. I just think it can't not help but enhance it a little bit. So I mean, I think as INFPs, we do tend to do our own thing without knowing why we're doing it. We're just like, why are we always not wanting to do what they want to do? So I think that there's always that underlying tone, but I think just finding something of a system or whatever it might be just kind of helps validate that strength and path. Like, you know what? Now I know why I'm going that way, and I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to, like that I'm on the right track, that deja vu feeling where this is the way life's supposed to be. But I used to wonder why it is. And actually, like when I got back from Mexico, December, I stopped in with my cousin and his wife and family in Sydney. And I reminded them just before that I'd be staying with them or coming to see them and go out for dinner or something. And they must have been discussing me. And they were discussing exactly what I brought up when I got there. They're trying to figure out why I am the way I am. I said, yeah, I'll tell you why. Like, because they've known me, well, obviously my cousin's known me all my life, and he's only a year, maybe 16 months younger than me. And I've known his wife for 20 years. And every time I run into them, I'm in a different town. And they're on holidays, and I live there. Like, just by sheer fluke, I was working on a tropical island in North Queensland. They both school teachers, and they both arrived there on a vacation. And I was sitting at the bar with a mate of mine, and I'm looking down the end of the bar. I thought, geez, that looks like my cousin. But he's got a goatee. He's put a bit of weight on. It can't be my cousin. What will my cousin be doing 1,700 kilometres from his home? I thought, can't be him. And then his wife walked out. They were paying the bill at the restaurant. And then she came out and said, oh, man, that is him. On a couple of occasions, I've done the same thing, run into him they've run into me wherever I live. They don't know where I'm just this hobo that just travels around all over the place, and they happen to be on holidays where I happen to be living. But those sort of things happen to me all the time, actually. Yeah, so now I've got to get my train of thought back. So we'll have to edit this bit. So where were we before?
No, I gotta leave those parts in.
Oh yeah, okay.
No, we were trying to go for just about your lifestyle and just how you kind of live, and like it's like you're in the path of like working to live kind of thing. So like I know you always said that money's not a thing for you, and that's what it is. A lot of us get caught up in we gotta live to work kind of thing, and you're kind of opposite, which should be like I would say like more of a preferred happiness INFP kind of thing for anyone. I think in just general, you gotta you want to work to kind of live kind of thing. But yeah, I mean you kind of your goal is to save up a ton of money and then not buy like a bunch of fancy shoes or whatever. You just like go to Mexico for like 2 months or whatever and go get lost trying to find a cactus in the Sonora Desert or whatever you said.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is easy to do. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was lucky in some ways because my mum's pretty frugal, like thrifty, and I watched as we were growing up. I could see just by osmosis, I learned off my mother like how to save your money. So all I do is I've never cared about money, never. It doesn't interest me, and people think that's just ridiculous, and and they sort of look at me strange, and I just sort of say, I just don't care. I don't care. It doesn't interest me at all, and all I do to compensate for the fact that I don't give a crap whether I've got any money is just tuck a little bit into an account that I never. So one day in 20 years' time, when I can't walk anymore or whatever, that's just there. And then I take another little bit of money away, which is my next holiday. and it just certain amount of money just direct debit goes into that account, and then when the holiday comes around, I've got the flight, I've got the accommodation. I don't have to worry too much about that. I'm still living on a shoestring when I travel, not as thin a shoestring as what it was when I was younger. I used to do the whole backpacking, 10 in a dorm or whatnot, but now it's more, no, I've got my own room now, and at the very worst, I share with one other person that I meet just so it halves the cost.
Just those hostile things, the hostels or whatever they're called?
Yeah, or
I've stayed in a couple hostels in Europe. I stayed in a couple of those.
Well, if I can, I try to stay with people I meet. Like with the live in their culture, and if I meet someone from that country, I tend to end up living with them. Not always, but like I went for when I was in my mid-20s, I was in Turkey. Well, just for some reason, I decided to cycle around Europe for 6 months. And I started in London, bought a cheap bike, pulled it apart, chucked it on the plane, got to the airport in Istanbul, put it together about midnight, putting it all together, and just cycled out of the terminal by the runway till I could see what was going on the next morning. But then...
When was this?
That whole trip. 1997, 98, give or take. Yeah, 98, April 98. In that whole month that I was cycling around Turkey, I paid for maybe 2 nights accommodation, and the rest of the time I had camping gear. I just camped wherever on the side of the road, but usually most people would see me and think I was crazy and doing the whole this crazy gringo, and I go and stay with them. They just say, come and stay in our house. They were the most hospitable people I'd ever come across, Turkish. And they'd load me up with food the next day, send me on my way. Whenever I got to one little village, they'd invite the whole village round to meet me. And I'd meet the baker and the butcher and all the guys and have a few drinks. And the next morning they'd fill my bag full of bread and olives and send me on my way. But yeah, they just think, oh, look at this crazy guy. He obviously needs somewhere to stay. Someone should help him. He's crazy.
But that's intriguing to me. So for me, I'm like more, I don't know what the word is. How cats are like not humane, but domesticated. I travel all the time for work, but I'm staying in like Holiday Inns. But so like your lifestyle, like to me, it honestly, like just hearing your stories of the things you've done, it's like it helps. It kind of provides like not so much of a goal to where I don't know if I can get down to that level of going to like link up with some random people. But it does provide me that spectrum of getting away from, all this crazy stuff that I've chased most of my life. And I know, so there's a happy medium somewhere for me. But like, using your story or other people's stories, like minimalistic lifestyle stories, tiny house movement, all that stuff. It's not to say I'm going to live in a tiny house, but it's something that I can reference as like, hey, look, there's happiness there at that level. Like I've seen it, I've heard it, I can truly feel it. So I might not necessarily get there to that point myself, but at least it gives me something to, go chase kind of thing.
I think it all boils down to that INFP meaningful life. So the way I've always seemed to look at life is that I want everything. It's all about the journey for me. Just like some artists, it's all about the message. Like if you've got a musician, he's an artist and they can make a racket on a guitar and they don't really know how to play the guitar, but it doesn't matter. The point is it's about the meaning behind the message. It's sort of the same way for me with just living in general. Everything has to be meaningful. Everything just does mean things. Like I can't help it. It's just a constant thing. Something you said a minute ago just triggered a memory for me. I found that thing I was supposed to talk about, but now it's gone again.
But like that's what you got to jump on it. So like a lot of times I'll interrupt. Like when people are having a conversation, I will literally interrupt the other person, not because I'm trying to be rude. It's because it's a point that if I don't latch onto it within about 5 seconds, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm talking and it clicks in your head, just interrupt me. I'm serious. That's the only way to do it.
Okay. Yeah, because it will come back again, I'm sure. But it was to do with the minimalistic and the travel. And I thought, I've got to get this in because it's an important part. So I guess if I go back to that travel part. Oh, yes. Okay. So what it is I've always tried to figure out, it's like that nature or nurture.
Yeah.
Which is my childhood what made me who I am, or was I just born to do what I do? And I thought it was, I used to be 95% nurture, until, as you get older and you think, geez, I'm nothing like my parents or whatever. But you still got some of their values, and you still got, they taught you manners. They taught you how to be polite and shake hands and whatnot. So you think, oh, well, I learned that from my parents. But the rest, no, now it's the other way. Now it's like 95% I was born this way. What made me think it was the other way was, well, my childhood was pretty, moved around a lot, pretty turbulent sort of childhood. It was, without going into too many details, I was happy, but the world around me wasn't going the way it was supposed to go. And I sort of thought that maybe I skipped childhood, and because I'm the eldest, and my father had passed away, and mum remarried, and things weren't too crash shot. And I took the role of my father a bit. I took on the responsibility, so that sort of took away a little bit of my childhood, not too much.
My mom was a single mom raising 3 kids. So my brother and sister, we all had different dads, but from my early age, I mean, it was like probably like 4 or something like that. I didn't have a dad in the house except for my granddad when she moved in with her parents. But I was kind of the same thing as you. I didn't have a dad at all. I kind of took the, I was the oldest as well. I'm the oldest out of all of my brothers and sisters, whatever, cousins. I'm like the oldest out of all of them. But I did the same thing. So not to interrupt, but I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. So, and I said to my youngest sister, we think is INFJ. We've always really hit it off. We sort of seem to connect. We were sitting there one day and said, why is it that we've come out pretty level-headed? Why aren't we some sort of psychopathic killers? Like, how did we get through this? And it was because I was INFP that I got through it. And I think it also heightened my sensitivity to people's behaviours. Because there's a lot of alcohol in and around us, and a bit of abuse. So in those scenarios, you hear of that where people, the children, you can just how to avoid a situation because you see it coming, you see the patterns, and then you adapt and you get proactive and prevent these incidents from happening. And you're hyper aware of people around you and their moods, and so there's that INFP thing. But then I don't know which came first there, whether it's the INFP in me or whether it just enhanced it more, like that awareness.
I sometimes look at that too. It's like I look into the whole thought of like, is there a lot of INFP developed from like a traumatic childhood kind of thing? Like I talk to a lot of commenters obviously on YouTube, and I hear, and some of them like really go deep with some of their dark times in the past. And like there is somewhat of a thing with that where I was, I have that whole bullied story where I was just traumatically bullied like every day for many, many years. And that if you haven't done that or experienced things like with alcoholism and things like that around you, I don't have that experience under my belt. But like whatever it is, if it's some kind of traumatic type incident, it does force you, especially if it's an early age, it kind of drives you internally to really figure out how to navigate whatever situation you're dealing with. Just to kind of, so like, and that's the whole thing. It's like, I still play with that same thing. It's like, did all that bullying and just constant me having to go inside and just really figure it out on my own, because no one else can seem to help me. It was kind of on my own to kind of figure out. I had to really go inside and learn who I am, why this is doing this, why people are being the way they're doing towards me, why is this, that. So it kind of helped me see those patterns like you're talking about. And that's where I think it gave me, I can appreciate those times. It sucked going through them. I don't want to relive it, but I can appreciate it because I do think it did grow me quicker. Like the whole old soul, like you feel like you're like decades older than you are, you know?
Yeah. And that's how I feel going back to what I was saying before. My childhood sort of No. Even further back at the start of it. No, that's fine. I think it develops everything faster. I skipped my childhood a little bit and matured faster. I've always sort of come across as more mature. Going back to the original point, it was sort of like, I thought that things like when my father died, I realised how short life could be. Things like this, and I thought that drove me to travel the world. I thought that not being able to live very long, I would have to hurry up if I wanted to see everything in the world. But it wasn't the case. It wasn't really the case. We moved around. So I was born in Sydney. Then we moved, when my father got sick, we moved back out to the small village out in the bush where he was from. And then I spent my primary years there, half my primary years there. And then once high school came around, I went back to Sydney to boarding school. So I had already sort of left home at the age of 12, roughly, and lived at school in Sydney, like 600 kilometres away. It didn't bother me to be away from my family too much. I didn't really ever get homesick or anything like that. It was pretty well adjusted considering. And I think well adjusted because of those things, like having to find a way to be resilient and cope with those things. And then when I started high school, Mum had remarried and he passed away when I was in my first year of high school. I was struggling because I come from a small village to this big high school with only 33 kids in my school and 3 in my year, to a school of 850 kids and 150 in my year. And this homework stuff, what's this all about? Like assignments, what? And every I'm thinking to myself, do you teachers talk to each other? That this one's given me 2 assignments and you've given me 1 assignment and he's given me an assignment. That's like, I've got like 7 assignments here. You guys need to communicate because I can't do this many all at once. And it was really getting to me then. And then my stepfather died and I was reasonably close to him. He's right-hand man around the farm sort of thing. And he died on my sister's birthday. And I didn't cry until my uncle rang the school. The headmaster had pulled me out of the class and took me for a walk. We're going back to a generational thing where I wasn't showing any grief. So this is going to sound weird, but and it was a Morris Brothers school, so Catholic boarding school. He's put his arm around me, he's grabbed my nipple and he's twisting my nipple. And I can only think that was to get me crying, to start the grieving process or something like that. That's not what I was thinking while he was twisting my nipple. I was like, what?
Do we edit this part out? Is this like against YouTube policies? I got to read their policies.
Yeah. No, I won't go into too much depth. But anyway, so another death in the family. My grandfather died. Everyone sort of died in one. My grandmother died all in one little clump. And I thought, wow, this I just sort of thought, oh, maybe that's what made me want to travel. And it wasn't until I figured out what type I was eventually. I thought I was INFJ to start with. So that sort of fits a bit. And then I started watching a few YouTube things. And I thought, no, it doesn't quite, something's not quite right about that. And talked to a few MBTI gurus just via email, and they suggested that I was probably INFP. And then I looked into that and I read, it was a personality junkie. In the first 3 paragraphs, or somewhere in the first, it was my life. Someone had written a book about me that I didn't know about and been stalking me my whole life, following me around, writing a book about me. Then I read the book only to find that I've already lived the book, and thought, wow, this is definitely me. I'm a quintessential INFP. I did everything in that book. It pretty much almost to the letter, if memory serves me correctly. I was reading through it and said, you'll start your own band at 20. I started my own band at 20. You'll travel around the world living out of your car, which I'm still doing now. You'll pick up other languages easily. I do pick up languages reasonably easy. I don't retain them once I've left, but once I go back and just get into the swing of it again, it starts to sort of come back. And then, because if I spend enough time there, you will, and you have to. It's a bit easier now because you've got those apps on your phone where you got translators and whatnot, but I still try not to use them. I still would rather I write it down. I write things down. I ask them, what does that mean? And I write it. And I just have these big conversations and listen for the tones and try to really understand it. And yeah, so what else was there? It was like, the car, you'll pick up other languages. You just travel around picking up odd jobs everywhere. So when I was in America, traveling around there, for 6 months or so, I picked up some work landscaping in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And
how did you get there? How did you end up getting to South Dakota?
Just driving around.
Didn't you start like in Canada or something like that? Didn't you go to Canada and all of a sudden you started to get a van?
It was my first big international trip, apart from when I was 14 and the family flew to Fiji for 2 weeks. But this is the first time, and I took a girlfriend with me at the time. We went to, and the plan was we were on our way to England, and we bought a round the world ticket. And I thought, well, okay, we'll jump into America, Canada, and we'll have a quick look around there first, because I've been working with a Canadian guy in Australia, and it's all that inspiration thing, for INFPs are looking for inspiration, they're looking to give inspiration, and so I just hear something and think, wow, that's inspiring, I'm going to do that, and that's everything I've ever done. Yeah. And then.
But people look at it as crazy like that because they're like, what? You didn't even think about that. It's like, it just, everything kind of fits. And then you're like, I'm driven to go that way. But you can't explain it. And that's why everyone's going to be like, dude, you have no idea what's around that corner. That's crazy. But it feels right.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I get excited. I know.
This is the thing, right? That is the brilliant part. It's like I've traveled a couple of times to the ISFP. He's a bit older than me, and we've done a couple of motorbike trips in Asia. And
that was in your little Brett montage video I put. Little dirt bikes, wasn't that in Thailand or something like that?
That one was Thailand. We crossed into Burma, but mainly the north of Thailand. Yeah,
that looked pretty sweet.
It was good, great fun. But so I travel with him a bit. We work together. He plays the drums in the band with me, and so we get along quite well. ISFP, INFP, there's not that much. They're really easy going, and same, it's the IP thing. It's like, if he wants to do that, yeah, you go and do that. And I might, if I want to do it, I'll go with him. If not, I'll go and do whatever. So there's no arguments about anything. We flip a coin. We were there one day. Where do we go? Where will we go tomorrow? We've got a few more days before we've got to be over there. What do you want to do? We could just stay here and keep eating crab in this hammock, or we could, go this way, whatever. And so we just flip a coin on the beach but we pretty much both knew that we weren't going to go anyway. And the place we were staying in was a dump. And it was we were in Cambodia and we're on the Thai border. We've got to risk, we know what we've got here. We've got this place. It's not that flash. It's pretty bad actually. But we have a choice of traveling on a bus for 24 hours only to find another dump and wasting a day on a crappy bus bouncing around, or we could just stay here and make this the best place we've ever been to in our life. And we both said, yeah, let's just make this place really good. So we just made that place really good. We went around doing everything. We met people. We just did stuff, and we're just riding around on these little mopeds that, I wonder what's down this road. Yeah, and we just ride down these, try not to hit any landmines. Just these little adventures, just like, and that, yeah, going back to what we're saying, you just don't know what's around the corner, but it's that curiosity. Well, let's see what's around the corner. Don't tell me what's around the corner. I don't want to know what's around the corner. I want to see it when I get there. Like surprise me.
Just discovering stuff, man. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I'm plagued with just how I'm kind of never really content with stuff. It's like, I always want to discover more. And it's like, to me, it's like a revolving door of just chasing something new, like always. And it's just like a new experience or new whatever. Like, that's just, for me, it's so tireless because it's like, man, when is this ever going to stop? But I just don't think it's ever going to stop because I'm fueled by finding that spark of inspiration. And inspiration is not typically going to be sat in a structured life for me, like where I know where stuff is in the kitchen. I know where stuff is. I'm comfortable with that. So like, I'm not really going to find a whole lot of inspiration in the things I know. It's going to be triggered from learning something from somebody, like someone new, or like, your lifestyle. If I didn't put myself out there in this aspect, we would have never met, and I wouldn't have ever heard your story of how you live your life and things like that. That triggers inspiration kind of thing.
Another part of what I do is to show people that you don't have to follow the rules. I get a kick out of that. Whenever someone says something, asks me about whatever, I love seeing the look on their face when they go, you did what? Where? And I'm like, and I'll act all nonchalant, like, yeah, everybody does it, don't they? No. And it's like I get a real kick out of inspiring people to just do it, like Nike. But it's like I'm trying to think of. I remember working in London, and a mate of mine back home. Like we did our apprenticeship together, and he's a year older, and he familyed up. He's got 2 and another one on the way. This is going back 20-odd years, 30 years. And him and his wife, I think he's INFJ, she's INTJ. And I helped them out with their business for a while. And whenever he needed help, I just go and work for him for a while. And anyway, one day I took off from overseas. I send postcards from all over the place to them because I knew his wife liked seeing she lived vicariously through my life. She knew that she was never going to be able to go to these places with 3 kids and a mortgage and all the rest of it. And so I'd always send her some really, nice postcards from Venice or wherever, somewhere I know that she would like to see. And her husband, my mate, he'd say when I got back, he said, I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you just get up and go and work in some other country and just, I said, just do it. It's how we can't now. I said, you can do it. Just do what I did. Get your place, rent it out, pack the kids up and piss off. And just go and just do it. Once you're there, it's too late to turn back. You've got to do it. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel for people that just can't see it. They can't see it.
Well, there is a trap set out for people. Like, there's little honeypots that life sets out for you. And it's like, the way the society and, you know, everyone, the governments market things, it's to kind of put us in a little like stable box to where we don't, like, that's why they, you know, a lot of these tiny house states, you can't put a tiny house in my state of Ohio. There's certain things they don't want you to go live on the grid. They don't want you. They want you all to be where they want you to be, so they can track you. And that's the whole thing. So like, if you eat those little honey pots, you can like, so for me, like, you know, I kind of fell into that, you know, get a job, you know, go chase the corporate ladder, make money, go buy cars and houses, and you're going to be super happy. So if you fall for those like tactics, which are easy to do because they're everywhere. And like, so I fell into that, and it kind of did trap me in a sense where, yes, you know, at your point of view, anyone can change anything at any time. You just got to make that change. It's just, can be a little bit more hesitant when you do have that family or kids. It's just a little bit more of a thought you got to think about, but
of course. Yeah. I get it. But I just try to show them the way.
Yeah.
You know, some things I thought out. Some things, you know, when I went to start a job in England, I went back a second time. Well, that had to be thought out. First time was on a working holiday visa, and I said to my girlfriend, I've got to go. If I don't do it now, I won't get this chance. So I left at 25. I was going to turn 26 soon. So if I had to leave the country, I had to be in England within 6 months. So that gave me a bit of time in America and Canada to drive around. And then I knew I had to be in the UK. The second time I went to England, I had to plan it a bit more. Like I had a girlfriend from England I met here. I went to go and live with her. And so we busted up actually. Before I got there, I rang her to say, I've got the visa, I'm on my way. And she's like, I think we're over. So there's just 3 months of her being away there. Well, that sucks. Okay, so righto. So I sort of put it on the back burner, and I think I just quit my job as well to go over there, and it was working on a tropical island on the Great Barrier Reef, and making a good amount of money, only working 4 months on, 4 months off. I had to work every 4 months I worked. Every next 4 months, I just do whatever I like and still get paid for it. I gave that up for the romance to chase a woman on the other side of the world. That's happened a couple of times. I've stopped doing that now. Not healthy.
But it's so easy. Like, do you kind of like get drawn in like super quick? Like, that's what I do. Like, when I find something, I get all like crazy about it. Have you ever been married?
No, never close.
You don't have any kids?
Not that I know of.
Why do you feel you've never been married?
Oh, well, I used to put that down to I just travel too much to plan any routes. It's not really the case. But it's partially the case. I think there's some commitment issues. I've been told. I don't know if it's true.
But I think a lot of it, like with the whole commitment issues for us, it's like commitment issues to not give up our freedom to, you know, like that's what I'm saying. When you do get married or have kids or whatever it is, you do kind of create this ball and chain effect where it's like you can't just easily like, you know what? I got inspired. I'm booking a flight on Saturday and I'm flying to Thailand for 6 months. So like, yes, you can talk your, you know, wife into it or whatever, but it's like, it limits your freedom to go do stuff. And that's how I am. I've still never been married either. And I'm not writing off the idea of marriage, you know, whatever. I'm not writing it off or anything. But I don't know. It's like, it's that freedom. It's like, so it's commitment. For me, it's lack of commitment because I don't want to give up my side of the freedom to do what stuff when I want to do it.
Well, you know what is like with the INFP idealism. So my dream is everyone's dream, and it's like so if I've got a girlfriend and if I think about it, which I just, as you were speaking, I was formulating this theory, and I thought, well, when I think about it, I have this, I won't say anything to them. I've got this, I've pictured this, we'll be together and we'll backpack through Southeast Asia for 3 months, and then we'll go and do this, and everything's about me, but not about me. It's sort of like about my vision, but us together in my vision. And so that we'll do that. This will be great. This is going to be fantastic. And and they're fine with that. I can really sell it. I can sell it well. And don't worry, I've got you covered. So don't worry about a damn thing. And they might be J types or SJs or whatever. Yeah, one was ESFJ, two were ESFJ, and they are panicking. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. But I've just left my purse in the restaurant and we're getting on a boat to Greece. I'll go and get it. I'll just scale this building and I'll climb up over the balcony. I'll get your purse.
Walter Mitty stuff.
Yeah.
Can you hang on a second?
Go! Get out! She's gonna blow! Go!
And then, and we'll just get on the boat just as they're untying it, and away we go. And that happens all the time. I just don't panic. And my mother says to me, like, you'll never get an ulcer. Not that that's how you get ulcers, but they've found since discovered. But so you're just like your uncle. Doesn't worry about a bloody thing. Yeah, it's what we were saying there was about the travelling. So
you were untying a boat and climbing a building. That's what you were saying. Yeah,
sorry, but the idealism, that vision of, I go out with every intention of this woman will probably be my wife. You know, I go in and if the right woman came along, I'd just do whatever she wanted tomorrow. But it would have to include 8 weeks of the year. Sort of. You know, I'm flexible. Yeah. Even, look, that would happen, right? So if I had a younger girlfriend and we're working in London and think, okay, and my girlfriends have always been a bit younger and I've always travelled, I've been in many places and they haven't. So I don't want them to miss out on what I've already seen. So they'll go, I'd like to go to Italy, and I've already been there 2 times. It's a great place, I don't mind. But I've got to think of, I haven't been to this country, or this country yet. I'd like to go there still. I don't want to keep backtracking on countries I've already been to. But I always find a win-win, always looking for that win-win-win. And so she wanted to go to Spain. I said, okay, I can go to Spain. I like that. That's cool. But while we're there, do you mind if we just get on a boat and go over to Morocco? And just, can we split that holiday a little bit so I can go to a new country? Even with my mate, the ISFP, when we go somewhere, he wants to go motorbike riding in a country I've already been to. It's like, would you mind if we went there, but we could just maybe jump across the border and hang out there for a couple of weeks? The last time we went, what I did was, okay, so we're going here, the motorbike ride's for 9 days, and we're going to spend a few extra days there. There's about 8 of us going. And I thought, right, what I'll do is, got all these, idealism again, here it goes. And I'm going to take a bit of extra time. I'll go to Burma first, or Myanmar, and I'll spend a month there, and I'll meet you guys in Thailand. I'll get a bus or walk to Thailand or something, and I'll, ride an elephant. I don't care. And then I'll meet you guys there. I said, do you mind bringing my motorbike gear with you when you come? But, yeah, and then they'll be there with my bag waiting, ready to go, and off we go on the motorbike ride. And I always try and incorporate somewhere I haven't been into somewhere I've already been. I don't like to go like you, like that, don't want to do the same thing over and over. I need a new experience. I need a new culture. I need to learn a new culture. I need to see how a different type of person lives, which is in that personality junkie thing as well.
But it's not, you never get like fully, it's not, you don't, like for me, I dabble in so many things. Like it's hard. I'm not an expert at like the majority of things in life. So like, because we're so spread thin. Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, I learned that culture, but it's like I dabble everywhere and I don't stay there long enough to fully really. So there's a couple of topics, that I'm interested in that I will continuously kind of, try to learn and things like that I just lifetime kind of things. But the majority is just dabbling. Like I go learn that a little bit. Okay, I got a good understanding of that culture or, whatever. And then I want to go experience something else. So it's like, it's because it's hard because it's like you never really become an expert at anything. And it's tireless, like I said, but that's how it is.
Yeah, you got to apply yourself. Yeah. And that's the fight, isn't it? It's like, well, you're talking about NE the whole time there, whereas we're both talking about NE where we sort of just jump around and we want to learn a bit of this and a bit of that, and we're jack of all trades and master of none. But
yeah, 100%.
I've always said that as a kid. Even growing up, I used to think that. Oh, my uncle used to say it, and I thought, oh, that's a cool expression. What does it mean? And I learned what it meant. I thought, oh, that's sort of like me. But we just learn enough information to get the concept, to get the idea, to get us out of trouble, to have an understanding of it. And if we want to, we can go back and learn a bit more. And sometimes that will happen. I'll go back and learn a bit more about it. And I've got my little like photography, music, travel.
Yeah.
That's my little grouping. A bit of writing and stuff like this, but my go-to is travel, photography, and music. And, there'll be other things, and I jump around. Then we try everything, so growing up, I probably don't even look like an INFP if you were to go back and look through the things that I've done. That's not an INFP thing to do. I said this to someone the other day, like, if I list all the sports I played, I think INFPs don't play sport. But I think I was lucky and I was sort of thrown into it, and living out in the sticks, and you could only play these certain sports, and I don't know, I got thrown into it, which I didn't mind. I love team sport. Even when I play touch rugby now, it's like I can see how I play like an INFP. So what I'll do is I'm watching the patterns of behaviour of the opposition players. I'm playing a team sport individually as well. I don't play the way other people play. I'm sort of unorthodox, and I play the way I want to play within a team structure. Someone pointed that out to me once, like, we never know what you're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do half the time. It'll just hit me at the right time, but usually it'll be because I've learnt the behaviour of all the other players, and I'm sort of reading their minds and seeing how he's going to react when we do this. So what we need to do, I'm figuring out their strategies while we're playing, coming up with a way to beat them. Not competitively. I'm competitive, but not that. I don't care.
See, my thing is I'm like super competitive. So when you do go down the INFP stereotypes, like INFPs aren't competitive. Like I am like the most competitive person I've ever met. Like anything, I'll turn anything into a competition. And like, I know that's not an INFP stereotype to an extent, but that's always been me. Like a board game, like I get ruthlessly competitive. So it's not in the, I don't know. It's not like to inflict harm or like whatever. It's just, I like competition. I like challenging myself, like just to see what I'm capable of kind of thing.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, it's more of a see what I can do. Am I capable of doing this? Can I do this? So I constantly in life just challenge myself at anything. And that's what a lot of times I do jump over those lines. I step over those lines that are scary.
Yeah, the competition's not about them. It's about us.
That's how it generally is. But on the surface, people get mad. Like, why are you always competitive? I'm like, but it's not, I don't mean it in the bad way, competitive. It's
not about you. It's not about you. It's about me. I'm challenging myself. Yeah. I'm like that with work as well. Not so much where I am now, but when I can think of one example when I was working in, I think I worked, you work for Coney? No. Who did you work for?
It was like a non-union elevator company. It's Oracle, but it was the guy who owned Otis. He started this little company or whatever. So Otis Elevator, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I work for the other guys, Coney or whatever, in London.
I worked on the Kone elevators and stuff like that. So escalators. We still worked on all that stuff. But.
Yeah, well, that job was competitive for me.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to work in pairs, but I'd rather work on my own. But I'm not allowed to because it's too dangerous when you're building an elevator up a 200-meter shaft and you have an accident. There's no one there. But
I was working in a group of two, and the guy got crushed by an elevator. So my little partner actually died when I was working with him. So I experienced that in my life. So anyway,
yeah, I've seen a couple of near misses like that. Went right.
Yeah, he got straight crushed against the pit ladder. He was climbing down the pit ladder. The elevator came down and crushed him. So that was that was back in like 2009 or something like that. So
did you have to take time off work for that, or?
Yeah, I was off for like a week or whatever, but it messed me up. I went through depositions from OSHA, and there was stuff for like 2 years. Just I kept having to come back and do interviews with the government kind of thing, and they were kind of trying to see what was going on, and I just every time I had to tell my story. And over time, I told the story like 10 times of, how it all went down. So it kind of got better over time, just venting it all out. But like I'd get choked up every time because I vividly remember exactly what happened that early morning.
Yeah.
It was just first thing in the morning. Like we're all of a sudden working together. 10 minutes later, he's dead. And I'm just like, what in the world? So,
yeah.
But yeah.
I've been touch wood. I've been lucky enough not to see a death like that, but I've seen some near misses. A couple of guys have lost an arm where one of the chains has come down out of the shaft and ripped an arm off and things like that. But
that's a dangerous job.
Going to the challenge side of things, so because it was like a bonus system, so the quicker I worked, the more I made. It wasn't about the money. It was about, even though I could see the dollar signs in the sense that the more I made in England, it was one pint of beer might have been £4 or £5, whereas one pint of beer in Thailand was like 20 cents. So
that was in South Africa. South Africa, it was like 30 cents for a beer. We were like drinking them out of the stock, like the hotel bar. We were drinking them out like every single night. They had to restock. It was like 30 cents, man. It was cheap. Some Americans going down there, it's like we can drain them.
Yeah, well, I think I was just thinking of, it's better for me to save my money here and spend it in 3 months. Like the money I saved in England in a month, like that meant that I could then travel around Thailand for 3 months. So that's all I looked at it in that way. But otherwise, money didn't. It was all about the journey. It was all about how long I could spend on the journey, rather than the money side. And anyway, so back to the challenge. Yeah, so I get. They give it 500 hours to build an elevator, say, and then for every hour under that so you get a bonus if you hit the mark at 500, and then for every hour under that, you get another so much per hour on top of your bonus, plus you get your wage, plus I was doing overtime. And so, but still, I didn't want to have to work for it. It was like, so that TE/TE, where I'm trying to find all the shortcuts, not in the lift. It's safe. I'm not going to kill anyone with a dodgy lift.
What elevator is this that you built? So I cannot go on it. Let me know exactly where it's at after this video.
No, all mine were perfect, but that perfectionism. And what I would do is you're always looking for being proactive. So every time I went downstairs, I'd take something with me. Every time I came upstairs, I'd take something with me. I was trying to, and I saw the boss, my supervisor, and said, look, I didn't want to get caught in traffic. I didn't want all that congestion and crap and bureaucracy and stuff like this. I just wanted to get in. I said, do you mind if I start an hour early? So I missed the traffic going in. Do you mind if I work through all my breaks? And do you mind if I go home and then I can go home an hour early? I could hit the gym on the way home and then miss all the traffic on the way back And they said, yeah, that's fine. As long as we can see you're doing the job, then you can do that. And so I was trying to find that way of getting out of work, doing what I want to do, really. Like, I didn't want to be at work. I wanted to be doing everything else but work. Didn't mean I didn't work. I worked hard, but I just didn't want to be working for the man all the time. You know, I got stuff to do. I got photos to take. I got, like, I don't know, songs to write, or, you know, like something else.
Yeah, I got stuff way more important than what you guys view right now. So.
Yeah, all this thing does is go up and down, up and down. You know, I could be, you know, who wants to do that all day? Yeah. But yeah, it was that challenge, and that was an incentive. They gave me an incentive to, and I try and beat the clock. If they told me you've got 500 hours to build this lift, I build it in 400 hours. You know, I've got to try and get it better each time.
And that's the thing where it is with now. It's like, you know, in my earlier days with money, like, because like you going back, I was going to interrupt you just so I didn't forget, but I remember now. But no, when you talked about your mom, my mom was completely opposite. So your mom was frugal. You were able to, I guess, see that, like, well, not guess, but like you were able to see that from her. But mine was completely opposite. She was very materialistic to where she just, anytime she got a paycheck, she blew it all. So, I mean, it's like she didn't know how to handle money the greatest, and she's still that way to this day. But it's like, it's not like she's not rich or anything like that. She doesn't have a fancy house. She lives with my sister. So she's not like, you know, some super rich person or something like that. But like it's her money view is like she would work her butt off all the time. She would work so hard to support 3 kids. And then right when she would get all that money, she never had savings. She never had any of that. She just spent it all. Every dime she had, she would spend it. And that's kind of, I picked up on that because growing up, it's like I knew she did that. You know, it's like she just drained everything. We never had any money. We were like, you know, on welfare and things like that.
You hadn't learned how to budget.
Yeah, so that's where I kind of went into life kind of off the piggyback. And it's not to blame my mom, you know, she's tried her best, you know, trying to make do. But that is kind of what I grew up understanding. And like in schools, they don't teach you finances and things like that. So for me, I didn't know. I just went into life and just like, hey, I got all this money. And now I'm going to spend it all on all this material things because I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with my money. And why would I just want to sit there when I can go buy something and gain some short-term happiness? So, but it's all that, it's that concoction of like how you get to see however you're raised and then falling into the traps of marketing and just what the society says you should do to be happy. And then it took me a long time to finally break that thought process, and to where now I've been working the last few years of trying to get myself out of that like trap, I guess, that I kind of put myself in for my own decisions that I made. And it's my fault. But in life, it's hard because it's so strategically placed, those honeypots, where you just, I'm going to grab that. And then you get your hand trapped. So I've kind of worked very hard the last few years to kind of see through all that. And doing this process of coming back down off buying all this material stuff, blah, 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 my happiness is super improving. Like each day I get closer to getting there. Like I literally am. It's like,
it's just that extra little bit of weight off your shoulders. And
yeah, it feels, it's so refreshing. 20 years of just being trapped. And then now it's like, there's this sense of freedom that like the further away I go from this American dream and this and that, and to be happy, you need to buy this. Like I am personally getting happier the further I go away from that. And that to me is so intriguing where I'm like, heck yeah, here it is. This is going to be great. Coming into my 40s, like a whole decade. I'm super excited about the 40s because it's like my plan has been, it's unraveling. It's starting to come about to where I get that freedom sense.
Well, you probably won't want to go the whole hog down the way I do it. I mean, having a daughter is going to change things too for you.
Well, but that's the whole thing with my daughter. It's like, and that's one of those things like, you know, maybe when she gets older and gets married and, you know, goes on with her own life, then I might move to New Zealand or something like that. But like in the meantime, it's like her mother, you know what I mean? I can't, like, you know, you say just pack up the kids and go move to wherever. her mother's not going to allow that, and I don't want to
Well,
be
yeah, you
not
can't
part
do
of my
that.
daughter's life, because like she's like my, your thing is like traveling and music and all. Mine is work, my my kid work and all this stuff, or kid work, YouTube. Those are kind of my three things that I play with mostly. So and that's one of the things. It's like until she gets out on her own, whatever age that might be, and to where I can kind of just fly her to see daddy every once in a while. That's, then I'll come to that bridge when I get there. But it's like for right now, I'm not going to leave her for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I get offers all the time to go to my company's headquarters. My headquarters is in Boston. They offer me like all the time, hey, you want to come here, work in the office and do whatever, promotion type stuff. But I won't. I tell them all the time, no, zero. I will not do any of that. I will not leave my daughter for anything. So that's kind of, but yeah, so I can't do your life, and I am somewhat living through your life. But again, growing up until I had her, when I was 28 or whatever, like all in the military, my first base when I moved to England when I was 19. So I've been literally on my own since 18. But I've been traveling the world. I went to Europe. It was all, I've traveled a huge portion of the world. I've seen a lot already in the early days, similar to you, to where a lot of people start traveling later in life. And that wasn't the case for me. I seen a lot early on. I experienced a lot of NE stuff. It's like it fueled my NE to where now all these patterns and decisions that I make nowadays are all fueled off, that one time when I was in England, this one time when I was in South Africa, when I was in Holland, things like that. Like it's all these experiences that drive me to like a pattern that I can't understand, but it's like I experience all these different cultures, ways of life, and that combines me with straightening my path because I can kind of coordinate that in a subliminal way of where do I even know that? But it's just all those life experiences you do. If you don't do it, you don't build your NE up.
No, and you just sort of just know what's going to happen next. Yeah, you sort of predict the future a bit, like just going back a bit. That's a good thing. Like that you went when you're younger. You don't have to. You probably don't have that need as much. You've got your daughter, but that's okay. I have traveled a bit. I travel a bit with my job, and so that's filling a little niche there. What you might find, like for other types, they could say to me, "Well, yeah, that's all well and good that you live in, running around all over the world, and you don't care about money and whatever. But what happens when you get to 65? I don't know. I'll tell you when I get there." And so for them, but I see the other way where they've saved all their money, they got the nice big house, they've paid off the house. That's great. That's enviable. That'd be cool. I've got the house. It's still being paid off, but I don't want to live in it. And I still want to see things. I can live there later. I've watched people get to retire. They've saved all their money. They've got the house. They've got everything ready. They've been stressed because they had this mortgage, stressed because they had 5 kids, stressed about this, stressed about everything. They get in what you call an RV. They get to the city limits, have a heart attack, run off the road and die. And they didn't go anywhere. And they've dreamed of going somewhere, but now it's too late. So I think, well, while my legs still work, while my arms still work, it's about the journey. I want to make sure that my life was lived. I want to experience every moment and every moment to be meaningful for me. Every connection I make with everyone, just slightly off topic, but I just got reminded of when I walk into a room, when I leave a room, it's sort of on the same track. It's about that inspiration thing. So when I leave a room, I like to leave a room knowing that the person that I left in the room feels better for knowing me. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I just like to know that I've left them feeling better about themselves, about their life, where they're going. Let them know that it's okay. It's okay. Your life's what it is. Just go with it. These things will happen to us. We learn from these things. If they're down, if they're talking about something, I won't tell them straight out. I'll just let them know that it's okay. Everything's okay. It'll get better. Just try to find just try to find for yourself what it is you want, and aim for little goals, just small goals. Just aim for that little goal and reach that. And then that's one step to the next goal, one step to the big goal closer. You can just make yourself happy with all the little goals. That's not advice I would give myself. That's just advice I'll give to SJ type sort of. I don't need that advice. I don't need it. It's just natural. It's just I know what makes me happy, and I know what doesn't make me happy. So
yeah, but like I mean, like in with you talking about how it's. So I look at people too. Like I look at older people and things like that, and see their life and what they did, and all these people that I worked in this job for 30 years and all this 50 years. There's some guys at my company that retired. They just retired. They worked like 50 years at this exact same company, 50 years. Like I can't even make it 4 or 5 years without like changing jobs. So like, but those people, it's
admirable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, wow. I mean, that's a long time. But for me, I just know that's not where I fit because I can't do something for that long. So, But again, looking at them and like, okay, so that lifestyle of doing that's, admirable thing. But at the same time, it's like, what did that guy do during, before his retirement? So he retired, he's got this chunk of money saved up. And then, like you said, they can die or they just, they're traveling the world, but they have a bad hip. So they can't like go explore off into the mountains. They can't do certain things like that. And then that's how like we have to flip all that because the society majority tells you that you need to work while all your good years, you need to work. Like you need to put in all the work when you're healthy and fit and, but you're making these companies all this money.
Who says?
No, but who says?
I know. I'm agreeing with you.
But that's the whole thing. It's like they say that, but like we just see it the other way. And that's what they don't get. They don't understand. Like, what do you mean you're not doing this and that? Like that's not right. You shouldn't be going to Mexico for a month. You should be working and then go to Mexico when you're 60. That's what you should do. But we're like, no, I got inspired yesterday by watching a TV show. I'm going to Mexico.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but that's until you break out of that. And like I said, for the last 20 years, I've been just working, like living to work kind of thing. That's literally what I've been doing. And so, yes, my job now, it's 100% travel. So I still am exploring all over the United States and Canada. Every week to week, I'm in a new state. So I'm still fueling my NE and travel off the company dime, which, it seems like an ideal INFP job, but it does get kind of extensive. It gets old. But so I'm still kind of fueling it on the company dime, but I'm working extremely hard. I'm stressed out. I'm like, everything's just crazy. And I don't get to do those things. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm constantly using a lot of my free time to do work stuff. And that's just, so I'm trying to find a better balance with that. And but it's really flipping that understanding of like, let's live our life when we're healthy, and then like when we get older, it's like it's just flipping it.
It's absolute total opposite. Yeah, but I get it. I know I have to work because then otherwise I won't be able to go to Mexico. But I still dream of how can I do this without having to work,
without the man involved.
So maybe if I build my own yacht, then I can just go wherever, whenever, and just eat coconuts. Stupid, I know, but it's just. I'm probably a bit, obviously the extreme. I'm a bit of an extreme INFP. I don't know. Maybe there's other INFPs out there like me as well that travel around a lot. But like circumstances have just brought me to this spot, like because of the way I live, girlfriends I've had, and where they have their dream of what they want, and it might not align. I get along with all the girlfriends I've ever had. I still talk with them, even if they're married or whatever. There was never really been any bad blood between. Always been sort of amicable. You know, there's been pain, lots of pain, but I enjoyed the pain as well. Like, it's a bit about that, you know, how we can be a bit melancholy, and we like to look at the dark side of life, and it gives us that experience, and then we know then how it's going to feel next time, and we get better at dealing with it, and we can teach other people how to deal with it, and know how to comfort them without saying a word or whatever. But it's nice to reminisce now and then. It's nice to feel those feelings, to know that you're alive. Yeah, just to appreciate, well, I felt it. I feel, therefore I am, rather than I think, therefore I am. We're more, I feel, therefore I am. That. I guess that would be the difference between a TI and an FI, mate. I don't know. Some of the expressions that I like, like when you've been in love, and like, well, I'm trying to think of his name.
What were you looking at over there, Brett?
In my mind, looking at something. Yeah. Plus, I've got a few mozzies flying around here, so I'm watching them. But it's, I'm trying to think of the name of the author, Lord Alfred. But the quote is, "It's better to have
loved than lost," or something.
Loved and lost, than never to have loved at all.
Yeah,
yeah, I like that, and I've sent that to mates that have gone through it and really struggled. You know, it's weird. It's weird that a person should not revel, but wallow in it, like an INFP might wallow and feel good about it. Like, not feel good, but just think it's beautiful. Like, everything's beautiful to me. Like, every experience is beautiful. Everything I see, I can find beauty in anything easily. And other people think it's just a plastic top of a bottle. Yeah, but you know, if you want to, you can see it. If you want to, you can feel it. If you want to, you can. We can just put meaning into anything. Really, like, that's what I feel anyway. I don't know how you feel about it, but I find everything beautiful.
But I do it with people, like, big time. It's like there's a lot of people that write off, like, really, you know, there's people that are in a bad state with themselves, and, like, you know, they're generally that person at work, whatever, that, oh yeah, don't mess with that guy. He's mean, he's grumpy. But, like, I am so pulled in by those people because I know there's good underneath that surface level presentation. So for me, I'm drawn to those people more so than, like, you know, the normal happier people, whatever. Like, I see that, and I'm just like, you know what? That's not all this person is. Like, whatever they have, I don't need to know everything, their past and all this stuff. But I know they're throwing out like, they're throwing out all that grumpiness or whatever. But if you can go around that and dodge that, you know, dodge the grumpiness while you're trying to go in there, you can find good in everybody. I believe that. And I think it's unfortunate people just write these people off. And it's like, dude, it's something that happened to that person, or why they're doing the way they do. You just got to kind of talk it out and kind of go really put in the time to actually listen and, like, go see what's up. And and again, for me, that's a personal challenge to kind of see if I can get underneath there and find that. I like that.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't even see what the other people see. Like, they'll, I see that he's grumpy. Yeah. And I'll defend that. I'll defend him when he's not around and they're bagging him out. I'll sort of, I've spoken to him, and you know, it's not what you think it is. You guys think he's grumpy because of this. He's actually really shy. He's just actually really socially awkward, and that's his that's his mask.
Yeah.
And when you actually get to know him, he's actually yeah, he's an ISFJ, so me and him don't really see the world the same way, but I understand who he is, and he's not that person. If you can find the thing that he loves, or the thing that she loves, or the thing that makes them happy, then you're in. You got it.
Yeah, and they open up and they show you their other side that they don't show anyone else. That's the whole thing. It's like you get to that level and all of a sudden they become like all of a sudden your best friend. Like what in the world? Yeah. Like it's just listening to them and finding it, and then they just open up to you. It's like, why is this guy, Mr. Grumpy Pants, he keeps coming back to me, opening up, and I didn't even ask him to. He wants to like unload all his stuff, and it's fine. I get it.
Yeah. Well, there's an older ISTP that I work with at the moment. I'm working just across from him. You know, ISTPs are pretty quiet, pretty staunch, pretty like they're action men. You know, it's not, they don't like to mince their words. I won't go into the full story, but I found out he was ISTP. He overheard me talking, having our lunch break, and I was talking to an INTJ friend, and he overheard me and her talking, and he asked me later, what's this thing you guys are talking about, the FCQGs and TPSYs and whatever? And I said, mate, you wouldn't be interested at all. I didn't know he was ISTP at that point. I just knew he was grumpy. And because everyone said he was grumpy, so I just assumed he must be grumpy. But I've always got along with him. I've never had a problem. I could see we were very different. And like you, it's a challenge to figure out why he's different, what's different. And that, anyway, so 6 months later, I walked past him and I put on, initially I said, mate, you would not be interested. I'm not even going to bother telling you what it's about because I know I would lose you in about 3 seconds. And I walked away, left it, and he goes, oh, okay. And 6 months later, I said, hey, Steve, you know that thing, because it hit me in the head like a ton of bricks. I wasn't really thinking about it, and ISTP just jumped in my head. Once I started learning a bit of stuff, it just kept jumping at me now that I start knowing what their types are just by accident. And someone out there in the whole World Wide Web would go, oh, how could you know this? And you're not an expert in MBTI. I don't know how I know. It's just, I feel it. And 99% of the time, it's, if not bang on, it's not too far off. We're in the ballpark. And anyway, I said to him, Steve, you know that thing you were asking me about 6 months ago that Kim and I were talking about? And he said, yeah. I said, you're ISTP. And he's going, what? Let me write that down. Let me write this down. What is it? And got to get it. You got to get it written down. It's got to be in writing. You know, got to have that data in my hands. He said, I'm going to take this home to my wife. And he's older generation, so he's got an old analog phone. He doesn't know how to turn a computer on, so his wife does. So he takes it home. I said, here's the website. Do the test. I bet you're ISTP. Without a doubt. The next morning he comes back to me, and he's already forgotten the letters in his head, but he's written it down. He's coming up to me with a piece of paper in the morning. He's like, I said, ISTP? Yeah, you're right, ISTP. And my wife said, oh, thank God. I've been trying to figure out that for years. He said, she knows all about this stuff. She knows everything about it. He said, Brett must be an INFP. She said to him after I figured out what he was. Mm-hmm. And then he said to me, and I said, well, she might be INFJ then. Back to him. And so he went home that night and he came back with a piece of paper the next day, and I looked at him, same deal. I said, INFJ? Yeah, INFJ. How do you know? How do you know? And I said, well, I met her once 12 years ago, and I spoke to her for 3 minutes, I think, just from that memory and the fact that she knew I was INFP and the fact that she knew typology. you told me that you said this to your wife once and your wife said that to you. All these things all joined up to make me know that she knew that I was INFP. The day that I told him it was ISTP, we were walking along. I tried to keep it really short, really succinct, because I knew I only had a limited amount of time to talk to him before he'd zone out on me. So I said, to him, you don't like this, you like this, you don't like doing that. And he's just, every time I said something, you take half a step back. He's like, whoa. He's getting uncomfortable because I'm nailing him. And he said, Steve, if you can't pick it up and throw it, it's not real. And he goes, holy fuck. he couldn't believe it. He's like, he just didn't know what to say. Then he freaked out. He went home, he did all the testing and all the rest of it. But he said, and then a bit later on, he sort of, wow, I can't believe how accurately you just described how nobody knows this stuff. Nobody knows this stuff. And I've talked to a couple of ISTPs now where it scared the crap out of them. One of my mates from school, he said he went off to do the test. He had to do it for work, and he did a 2 or 3 day course in it. And he said it scared the shit out of him when he was doing the course. He says, it's like voodoo, some sort of what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's just out of their realm, out of their wheelhouse. It's not something, that's not for every ISTP, but these the ones I know, we have the complete opposite cognitive function to them, although we had the IP. So we have that same self-above drive sort of thing. But anyway, I rambled there for a bit there, so it's your turn.
No, that was It's funny how you get caught. That's how I am on these videos. Like I get caught up. I catch myself in a rant. I go on forever, and then all of a sudden I snap out of it. I'm like, whoa, my bad.
Well, I finally got to my point. And it's like, okay, your turn. But it's like, yeah.
It's like instant though. It's like I know that happens too because on all my videos they start off kind of slow because I don't know how to structure them, and so I kind of go. But then right when I latch onto that first thing, I go forever. And then all of a sudden I just stop like abruptly. It's like, oh, I guess I'm done.
It's that passion that you get on a roll and you think, yeah, it's all just coming together and yeah, don't stop me now.
Yeah.
I'll just say, I should probably just clarify quickly now, I'm not living out of my car per se. Well, yes I am, but
what are you doing? Damage control? You can't do damage control now.
No, I just wanted to say that just to make it maybe not so weird or just to explain it a little bit better, I house sit for people who go on holidays, and because of COVID-19, no one's going on holidays. So I've lost a lot of house sits. So yeah, I live by house sits. So I try to keep the house sits close to work if I can. Yeah, I look after people's pets while they're on holidays. They don't pay me. I just get Wi-Fi, everything's there as long as I feed and look after their pets, walk them, whatever they want, or no pets, whatever it might be. And some of them I don't even have them on a website where you look up these things, but now it's more word of mouth, and because I've done it before, they just get me back the next year, and it's sort of just I don't have to worry about it so much. But just because of this COVID-19, yeah, everything's on hold, so I'm just bumming around, visiting people that I haven't visited for a while. So
just go buy an apartment, now. Brett. Go get an apartment, get a nice little house. You'll be good. That's how you fix all your problems.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been dreaming about how I fix all my problems just through the week. My biggest problem is now, how do I get a plane to get out of here? And go somewhere. So my whole plan for next year has gone out the window a little bit. I'll still do it because I'm coming up to that half century in another year or so. I wanted to make it sort of special. Not that I ever care about birthdays or parties or anything like that. Every now and then a birthday comes around and you want to make it meaningful. So I thought 50, you know what, I'm going to take a year off work, get this photography thing going a bit better, like as good as I can get it. And where am I going to go? I'll just wait till someone says a country. Oh, okay, I'll go there, you know, like, and just wait for, oh yeah, that sounds cool. So it was going to be Iran, and then I thought, okay, what can I do? Let's just do more than that. Let's just go right around, like Uzbekistan, Kurdistan, all this. I've never been to any of these stands yet. I haven't been to any stands.
I've been to Turkmenistan and Afghanistan. I've been to those 2 stands already.
Yeah, so I've got to do a few of them. So, but I thought if I start Iran, Jordan, and make my way around, get myself to Pakistan to finish off or something like that, get myself across the mountains, do the whole extended version of Walter Mitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's on the background. I thought I tried to organise it with work, and they're making it difficult for me. So I can do it. I've done it before with them. I've wrangled my way into getting what I want for my 50th. Either get back here when I was 50 or take off when I'm 50, whichever comes first, and then and do it the old way. Like the way I did it when I first did it. Like I just had no plan, no idea. So I've got a push bike. Maybe I can take that, and away I went. And like the other trips I've been doing more recently, I've been flying. I've been like around Mexico. I got a few flights. I would never do that any other time. But I had a limited amount of time, so I wanted to see as much of Mexico as I could. So I had to get a couple of flights here and there. Normally, I would rather just get on the walk, get on the bike, hitchhike, whatever, and not know exactly where I'm going, which I didn't really know there either. But just get a rough plan. Roughly, I want 2 events I want to see and 3 places I want to see, and the rest I just make up. And I don't want to know what's coming up. I wait till the next person I walk past says, oh, you probably should check this out. Okay. But this time I want to go back to that I was amazed when I went to Chile and Bolivia and Peru and all that 10, 12 years ago. And I was so out of touch with the way backpackers backpack now. They've got their iPads and laptops and phones, and here I turn up with none of that, thinking, oh, is this how you do it now? And I couldn't get my head around it. I'm like, no, that's not authentic. That's not real. That's not meeting the people. That's not trying to learn the language, struggling to buy a sandwich because you don't know how to say sandwich. You know, like I want it to be hard work. I want to go back to that. So the next trip I do, I'll have my camera. I'll need my editing stuff, minimal, you know, if I can, and try to not worry about posting photos, 1 photo a day or a week. Just wait till I've finished after a year. Maybe stop off in some place for a month and edit photos while I'm sitting at the beach, and then come back to work. It's just a INFP dream.
Oh, I have a year off dream myself coming up. So that's kind of the course I've been plotting as well. So
it'll happen. It'll happen because you'll just make it happen. It'll just happen. We just make things happen.
But that's kind of like my same path thing. And I really feel there's value there, just rebooting myself from the ingrained of how I've been, just reboot. And then from there, it's a new starting point to live the rest of my life and not end up at 70 where I just stress myself out forever and didn't actually try to get a stronger frame of mind, a preference kind of thing.
Do you, just on that subject a little bit, do you have regrets?
No, I don't. I really don't have regrets because, like, there's a lot of experiences that I gained. Again, like I said, just traveling the world at an early age. It's all been on. So I wasn't the fact of you. So I traveled the world on company's dollar all the time. So I didn't go to, Turkmenistan. I didn't go to South Africa on my money. So the companies that I did, I had to sacrifice a lot of stress. A lot of that competitive alpha male type, all my jobs have just been a lot of, those kind of things. But a lot of it is just, I know from all that stress I endure, I got a lot of health issues that are rapidly, getting worse because of that stress I endure. But there's a lot of experiences I would have never gained if it was just relying on my own dollar. So again, like I said, like this current job, I travel 100%. So I'm literally in another state every single week. And so I'm experiencing all this stuff, which, yes, I still massively stressed out and things like that because I get run so hard and it's just go, 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 make money, you know, all this people, like just all this stuff, the big rat race, you know what I mean? So, but that it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I sustained a lot. I got a lot of experiences in life that a lot of people just aren't fortunate to have that much of that I had. But now I just, with all that data and knowledge in my head from what I've gained, now I want to do something else. So it's like, I'm just taking all that and it's not so much of a regret. It's just, that was an experience. And now I just want to take my life and go towards more of an INFP preferred type, balanced, like minimalistic type lifestyle and just see, because I'm fully aware of what a heavy ESTJ, rat race, corporate-y, chasing money, I know what that feels like. I know what debt feels like because I've been in it all my life. So now it's like when I don't have any debt, you know, things like that, now what am I capable of doing with that kind of the shackles free and my path vision of what I know where I don't want to go anymore? Let me go this way and see what it opens up. So it's not a regret.
No. Well, it'd be learning experiences rather than regrets, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I realize I sacrificed a lot of my own health and this and that. I know I did bad to myself on that kind of structure because you don't want to stress yourself out. You don't want to get the ulcers and things like that. Not that I've had an ulcer, but it's just there's a lot of that stuff that I know what I did to myself. But now I just want to kind of, you know, whatever I have left, I want to enjoy that part of life and not, you know, be that 70-year-old where I'm just like, man, I wish I would have done that when I was 40.
Well, that was going to be my next question. My follow-up question to that was, so imagine now you're 70 or 80. Do you think if it doesn't go the way you want it to go and you just continue on, you know, roughly like this, you know, you paid off your debts, your daughter's grown up, but you didn't really go anywhere and you get to 70, 75, would you be then, do you think you would have regrets?
If I didn't go anywhere with what? Like traveling, you mean? Or because...
Yeah, but
I mean, me and you have traveled. You're going to...
I know,
continue to kind of travel a little more, but...
Something else that you wanted to... If it's a career change or something came along and you couldn't get into videography or whatever, whatever your dream is next, if it didn't come to fruition when you're 75, would that be an issue, or would you just, I don't know. There's no way you can answer it. It's not.
Like YouTube is something, yes, I've been prolonged with, which is still weird to me to this day because I just don't understand why I'm stuck on one thing for this long, which is intriguing to me. And that kind of tells me that, hey, maybe you're meant to do this because you enjoy it. You see a lot of valuable areas in this, and, you know, it's a creative outlet. So maybe this is the thing I want to do. But if it doesn't work out, I'm sure another door will open up. It's not YouTube, it's something else, you know, I don't know. And so because my whole life has been living off of just every 4 or 5 years, I do something else, but it's something that just randomly fell into my lap. YouTube randomly came across. I didn't think about YouTube when I was 20. It just popped up at like, whatever.
Yeah. Which is us in general. That's just how we do it. And that makes sense. That's a perfect INFP answer.
I do tend to take those risks, you know what I mean? Like I said, so some people, I just don't think I'm going to have a lot of regrets because there are things that, like, there's fear, things that I'm not comfortable with, you know, being on YouTube on cameras, I'm a lot more comfortable than I was on day one. But it's like that risk that I took that a lot of people just don't take. Not saying a lot of people have to go chase YouTube or else you're going to regret life at 70. But for me, it's like it's whatever you are uncomfortable with that crosses your path. And then if you don't take that, hey, let me just try it. If you don't do that, then yes, you're going to regret it. But so I'm not saying that I just jump on everything that crosses my path. There's some things that I let go by that maybe I might think lightly of, but there's something else that's going to come because I keep exploring. Like my NE is on fire where I'm constantly going around exploring something. So I incur inspiration, which opens up more doors that give me the opportunity to take those little steps. So if you sit in your, in your basement in a dark, place because you're scared of people and criticism and you're just, I don't want to talk to anybody, then yes, you're going to probably regret your life at 70. But that's just not what I've ever really done.
No, I don't think you've answered the question like in a very INFP way, where in the sense that we do just jump from the next thing. I've never had any regrets, and I already know that I won't have any regrets when I'm 80, 90. I get that far. Maybe I might. There's a chance. I'm not going to rule it out, but I can't see it. I can't see it happening. Because everything is just that. It is what it is, and that's what it was. So, and that's how I felt about it. It was part of my journey. It was part of the journey. That's it. And as long as it meant something to me, that's the main thing. Just triggered something else I was going to ask you, but I've lost it. No, it's gone. But yeah, no, you answered it in an INFP way. That's pretty much how I would have answered it. Yeah, no regrets.
But I mean, like you said, it's like we all have the decision. You have the decision. A lot of your friends or whatever get caught up in that stuff and they trap themselves. But again, we all do. It's not that complex. I mean, we do have like day to day, we have decisions. What food we put in our mouth. There's decisions we can make, and it's just if you want to chase more of that lifestyle, you just got to make a simple decision, and then start working towards it. And a lot of people just I'm trapped. I can't do anything. So yeah, I trap myself pretty deep. But now I'm working my ass off to get out of it. It's just like because I'm making a decision. No, enough is enough. I'm tired of it. So it's when you find that clarity for yourself, and hopefully it's earlier than life than later.
Do you know why I think it is that you've been on this tangent, like in videos and being creative in videos?
Sure.
Longer than any other thing?
Yeah.
I think it's about the connections with people and the people you're meeting, and you're doing it in a different way to what I've done. Like when I go traveling around the world and I'm accumulating all these Facebook friends from all these different countries, and they were part of my journey, and I won't forget them, and I won't let them go. I will hang on to those little friends, and I'll check in on them now and then and just make sure they're doing okay. Let's see how their life's panning out for them. And it's just about the connections, I think, like, plus it's a creative outlet, but you've also got that dialogue between you and me, and you've met Jen, the other INFP in Australia. You've met other, through video, but and people who are on the same wavelength as you as well. People who you can talk to and understand you. So it's a connection. It's a connection that's understood. If that makes sense. I
guess when I say I don't understand why, I mean I do kind of, but it's like it is. Because it is. Nothing in my life has been, because, it's always you feel that like no one understands me. I'm just a weird person. People think I'm crazy with what my views. So I get that on a daily basis in the real world. So then the idea popping in my head of where like, hey, I kind of like video editing. Well, let me go on there and just see if I can, find people that might understand me. There is. I mean, that's why I'm always going to lightly encourage YouTube as a place for INFPs to explore the idea of creating on YouTube. But I understand that it's not for everybody. It's not creative. It's like I'm not a book writer. You know what I mean? But a lot of INFPs are. So it's like, so I'm still, because I haven't experienced in it, those things I do see. It's like it's very relatable. Or even just encouraging people to put comments down in the comment section. So if I do the video, whatever, but if you comment in the comment section, there's other people you can meet down there. And I see that because I meet them all the time. And I'm just like, hey, don't let me just meet these people. They're cool. You go down there, you put a comment, and then you'll have a bunch of people talking to you. And it's just, hey, I relate to this. And it's fun. It's fun conversation. So,
well, that was going to be my next thing. And that's still about connection. It's still about, because you've mentioned before how you like the comments, you like the comment section. And yeah, that's connecting. So, and basically, that's what humans want. It doesn't matter what type you are. We're social animals, even if we are introverts or reclusive or whatever. But if you ask a guy that's just work all the way to the end and barely spent any time with his family because he's too busy trying to put a roof over their head and making sure they get to school. Yeah.
But I'm saying
So
I'm not 70. I'm 40. So yes, I
know.
literally 100% work has been first. My priority list for 20 years, work has been that, and that is wrong. And that's what I'm changing.
What I'm leading towards is when that person, not you, but anyone, when they get to the end and they're laying on their deathbed and they ask them, what do you regret? What do you think the meaning of life is? Or what do you think life was all about? The most common answer is connection. It's about having connection with people. And they might regret that they didn't have, or they might be glad that they did have, but whatever the answer is, it'll be about having that human connection of some sort. For us, it's about, or for me, it's about meaningful connections and, connections. Every now and then I might have thoughts of like, okay, I'm now 80. I'm about to die. I've been all around the world. I've got no offspring. I've got no family, just me now. How will I feel? How is that going to be for me? Will I be sad? Will I be lonely? Will I be happy? Like, just trying to figure it out. I think I'll be happy.
There's a lot of types that I talk to them all the time that they're when you get to talk about their marriage or whatever it might be, and they're literally, their response is like, I fear of being alone. Like I don't want to be alone. Like for me, that never crosses my mind. If I'm alone, in the end, I don't have that fear of like, I need to get married because I don't want to be alone. Like that's, to me, that's crazy.
That's a pretty big EJ thing or ESFJ thing.
Yeah, I hear it a lot, and the guys I work with and stuff. There are a lot of those SJs and things like that. But that is a common comment. Right when they tell me, every time I'm just like taken back. I don't say anything. Like it's weird to me because I'm just like, that never crosses my mind.
I can sort of understand it, and I try to relate to it. I try to think of me, and I try to think of them. How I've heard their version of it, and I think, but I like you. I don't think I've ever been lonely. And my mind's too busy, number one, and when I do stop to think about it, it's like, I don't know, and it doesn't last long, and I'll just move on to the next thing. At the end, I think I'll be the same. I don't think I've never been lonely. I've noticed it once. You know, if you've just broken up with someone, and maybe it's one of your first breakups, you know, that'd be the time that you really feel it. You think, oh, this is the end. That's it. Oh my God. And maybe I might have felt that. I think I probably did, maybe. But 2 weeks later, you're back on the horse. Well, not necessarily. I've gone 2 years of mourning. But I wouldn't call it mourning. It's like I wasn't feeling it. I just don't feel it. That's the way I am now. Some people will go, everyone's trying to find me a girlfriend, you know. Everyone will be all the time. I'm not all the time. Yeah, most of the time. Certain people will go, try to line me up on a blind date or trying to, all they'll be talking about me. Like when I'm not there, all teaming up together around the table. What can we do to get him a girlfriend? We really need to get him a girlfriend so his mind's not going all over the place and he's not going crazy living out of his car. We need to settle him down. And that would happen, I guess, if I got the girlfriend, but I'm not looking. Really, and I don't really care. It's like INFPs. It's like that meme that you put up where the kid, I can't think what the cartoon character is, but he's
Calvin
digging in
Hobbes?
the sandpit. Probably, yeah, he's digging in the sandpit.
Yeah.
And
The inspiration or something like that?
I'm just waiting for inspiration, yeah. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting for love to walk past me. I'm waiting for that thing.
Yeah.
Until you can't force me to love someone. You can't force me to. Like I got set up on a date a little bit a few months ago, and I knew before. I said, please don't. I already know the end. I've already seen where this ends. You know what I mean? I can predict the future. And if my heart's not in it, then I can't help you.
But that's for me. It's like, all these dating sites and all this stuff, like it's structured, like, go find a picture, whatever. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to put myself on that. I don't want someone to hook me up or whatever, because I want to like find someone on my little any excursion, around the corner.
Yeah.
Like those are ones that like are cool. Like my last one, I just randomly found out in, Michigan. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah,
I just kind of popped into it, and all of a sudden it's like, bam.
Like
yeah, it's just, so like those are the ones that just like hit me out of nowhere. So like if you just set me up, I'm already kind of this feels weird. I don't like this. Not saying it can't work, but I really, like I said, I'm not writing it off, because I get those every once in a while. There'll be someone that crosses my path randomly, usually in a time where I'm not ready, and it's not good because I haven't fixed my own stuff. But
see, that's the problem I have. I'm never ready, but at the moment I haven't been ready for years. But
but I
know exactly what you're saying.
I'm still the same way.
Exactly what you're saying.
I still got stuff I got to work on. I'm not so I do keep kind of, but again, getting out of my lifestyle where work was forced. Then once I get out of that, I know that relationships are going to have a better chance of longevity or whatever. Because when I find these people, I'm super all in and this and that, but like work will quickly after a few months pulls me away from that relationship, because I got to concentrate on there, because I'm shackled by what I've done and my decisions I've made in the past. So when I change that offset, then when I find someone, maybe there is more of a chance for me to, have a long-term relationship. I don't know. But
yeah, I was just thinking as you're talking there, I'm thinking also, if you look at it from a female INFP point of view, it's got to be a different dynamic for them, because usually the males are the providers. That's not politically correct nowadays, but it's usually the old ways. But now equal opportunity for sure. But I wonder how their experience is in that regard when it comes to relationships. And it's obviously going to be pretty much the same in the sense that they've got to feel it. They've got to, they just don't. I know from a girl who's an INFP at work, some of her, she's been on those dating sites, and I know the answers before she tells me when I'm talking to her, when she's telling me about the guy or this thing. I can read it. I can just read it. I can see it, the answer in her, that she's interested or if she's not interested. You can just it's like, no, you don't like him, do you? Oh, yeah, I'm struggling. Like, it's your heart's not in it. I can feel it from here. And she goes, yeah. I'll give you I've never been on the dating sites, and I just don't want to, but I did one night. I'll give you this what happened to me. I thought it was scary and funny all at the same time. And I don't know what site it was. I was sitting in the cinema on my own. Don't cry for me. I'm okay. I'm happy to be in the cinema on my own. And I've got a bit of time to kill because I got there early for some reason, and unusual, but yeah. And I pulled out my phone, and you know how you just see something when you're flicking through Facebook and it'll come up with a dating thing? Yeah, I got some time to kill. I'll join a dating site. And so I joined it. I joined two in there. I went to look for that, try to hook up the Tinder or whatever it is. And I didn't get that. I got some other one. Anyway, while I'm in the cinema watching the movie, started getting a few ping things come up. And I thought, okay, yeah, no worries. And then didn't do anything about them. And I got back to where I was staying. And I just laid down on the lounge to watch a bit of telly. And I get this message come through saying, call me if you're game. And I thought, okay. So I just that was my inspiration. Someone told me to call him, right? And so I called, and it was going really good. Like, I didn't realize though, while we were talking, I'm typing her in my head as we're talking and asking her a few, about probing questions without them realizing we're psychoanalyzing them. We're, just drawing this stuff, and I'm like, trying to figure out the type. I'm not worried about the type, but just because that curiosity of the INFP, trying to figure out how people tick and whatever. Anyway, so she's drinking the whole time. I didn't know this. I've had one drink, and she's probably polished off 2 bottles of wine. So she's getting more and more pissed as the conversation goes on. Then at the very end, she's figured out that I'm psychoanalyzing her or whatever, and she felt judged for a second or something. I said, no. And I was just finding out who she was, because I'm asking all the questions. She's not asking much about me. So it probably felt to her that, wow, this guy just wants Spanish Inquisition. What's going on here? Anyway, she snapped. She totally lost it and started screaming at me. And we're having a really good conversation. It's like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, and how many sisters have you got? And like, wow, that's pretty cool. And you come from where? What's it like there? You know? Yeah, she just went off a trolley. I didn't realize until she said just prior, where she'd finished off a second bottle of wine, and I thought, and I felt really bad, and she just cut me off cold. I'm like, whoa, what the hell just happened? And I tried to text her back to say, oh, look, I offended you or something. I'm really sorry. I didn't. I don't know can you tell me what I've done? That was it. So I was less than 24 hours on a dating site. That was enough to deter me from ever going on one of those things ever again.
No, but when we do psychoanalyze, I mean, I think that because a lot of types don't like that stuff. Like you barely like muffle the word psychology, and people like get scared and just don't want to deal with you at all because you're some creepy person that is trying to. So like I'm very smooth, but I don't want to get in there to conduct harm. I want to get in there to, understand how we can both be together on a common level.
Absolutely.
So, but the other types doing that, they're like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get inside my head and you're trying to manipulate me. I'm not trying to do that.
Judged. They feel judged. They're feeling judged.
But it's not that way. It's literally just finding that common ground. And but it's understanding their perspective, because yes, the judging feeling, this and that. So it's like, when I go, each interaction I have with every person, I do somewhat, psychoanalyze a person to an extent, just to kind of find a common ground between that person and myself.
Of course. I mean, every human will do that. Every human will do that.
But to the extent that we do, because we study this stuff, I mean, ours is a little bit deeper. Like but some people just like, how they like to be, like talk to, they expect everyone else is going to respond that way too. So if they like to get yelled at, they're going to yell at that person because, well, if I need to get something done, someone needs to yell at me. That doesn't mean everyone likes to be yelled at. But so we're just going to do it more on a molding to that person and us, and kind of finding that common ground for both of us. Like the other person might not understand psychology. They don't understand their internal feelings. They don't know any of that. So we kind of provide that mediation where they don't really know it. We just do it subliminally, where it's like, hey, we're both kind of talking freely right now. How did that happen? And it's just what we kind of naturally do.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I didn't mention MBTI. I didn't mention any types. I was just asking.
Yeah, but you slipped up. You took some route.
No. The thing was the alcohol.
Yeah, no.
Like she's drank 2 bottles of wine, and she's just. I think it wouldn't have mattered what I said. I think that if I was going out with her, and we were in a house together, and once she hit that certain mark, that's her limit, and then after that she's just gone. I just didn't know she was drinking. I knew she had a glass of wine. I didn't know she'd had like 10 of them. And I'm still on my second. She was drinking like a fish. Yeah, I think that's what it was, because I've seen that before. It's another pattern where you think, oh yeah, I've seen this before. Friends of mine, they will just hit this spot where to want to punch you in the head, and you haven't. What the hell just happened? And I'm sitting there having a beer with you, my best friend, and now you want to fight me. What happened there?
I had so many of those guys in the military that were like that. We had just random, like, because when I always got drunk when I was in my 20s and stuff like that. I still drink, now, but like when I was really partying kind of drunk in the military in England, Europe, you just kind of do that. You got nothing else to do. So you go out, but it's like I always was I kind of drank to have the liquid courage, to have more of that expressive outward feeling that I never commonly did. So I'd use it that way, and to go, have a good time, talk to women, things like that. But there's always those guys in our little squad that right when they would drink, their goal was I'm gonna go fight that guy. Why would you want to do that? Like I don't understand why you would want to give up all this fun and talking to women and this and that to go fight some dude, like, and possibly go to jail, get hurt. Like, I don't get it, but like I've dealt with that so many times where it's just like I'm not an angry drunk. I am like the fun guy. I'm the guy that everyone wants to get drunk. They're like, let's go get Sean drunk because he's funny and he's gonna do whatever. And that's just how it is. Yeah. Alcohol literally livens me up, and my super extroverted, comfortable side comes out. And
all the inhibitions go. Yeah, I'm the same. I'll be the same. But over the years, as you mature as an INFP or as a human, you get more comfortable in your own skin, and you don't need the alcohol as much. But it's a nice little Kickstarter. Like an incident where a friend of mine, well, this is what would happen in those occasions where one occasion in particular, right? So he's my friend. I've known him for a few years, lived with him, whatever. And this is when I'm 20-ish, 19, 20. And we're at the bar. We go out together. You know what it's like. You go into a bar, especially in your hometown, and you know everyone, sort of thing. And you know how you sort of mingle and you separate. And you might be with your partner, but you sort of end up they're over there and you're over here just chatting. And then, but the thing with me is I seem to connect, being an INFP, maybe, I seem to be able to talk to women far more easily than most other types of men, maybe. No, that's not necessarily true, obviously, but, I'm more comfortable talking about the things I'll talk about things that women want to talk about, as long as they're not talking about how they perm their hair or that sort of stuff. But if on a deeper level, that deeper discussion about how they work. Anyway, so I would draw a crowd of women, friends, and I was new to town. Like I lived in the area, but I'd been away at boarding school. So when I came back, I was like the new kid on the block. Because they've seen all these other guys. They went to high school and he's an arsehole, he's an arsehole. I went out with all those guys. They're all arseholes. And there's me come along from a boarding school. No one knows me. And I'm an INFP. I'm shy, quiet. I'm not one of those bravado guys trying to pick fights with everyone. So it's like, wow, this guy's really sensitive and really good listening to me and really wants to hear what I've got to say. And so I draw a crowd of women around me, and which would make me really uncomfortable. But it could go one way or the other. You could get friend zoned, or you could, you have your eye on this one, and by the end of it, she's going, "Oh, I'm so glad that Brett, he's the nicest gay guy I've ever met." I'm like, not gay.
But that's a struggle. It is, because I get the friend zone. I got the friend zone so many times, and I'm just like, once I get in it, you're like, what in the world? But like, I don't know. It kind of drives you to be like, you know what? No, I'm going to start being like the other guys, but I can't ever do that. I end up in the friend zone a lot.
Just to finish that story, so I just had to go off on that humorous tangent there for a second. But so I've got a group of girls around me, and my mates drifted off. We lived together, we flat together, whatever, and we went to the pub together. But he's a bit more of the jealous type, a bit more of the, man's man. I know that's not the real him. I know the real him.
Yeah.
But the one that goes out to the pub has to be the, oh yeah, don't look at me or I'll thump you sort of thing. I'm thinking, man, whatever. Anyway, so a few beers in, he's down the other end of the bar. I'm with this little gaggle of girls, sort of just chatting, whatever. And then I look down the end of the bar and I see my mate. And I think, oh yeah, well, give him a wave to come down. And he's down the other end of the bar doing this. He wants to punch me because I've got all these girls around me and he hasn't got any girls around him. I'm like, dude, come down here then. It's just a jealous sort of rage where, like, well, I found out later from his girlfriend, who became my friend, and it was his fiance in the end. But she told me years later, after they'd broken up, she said, "Oh, he was always jealous of you, always jealous of you." So I sort of guessed as much, but I did my best to not make him feel that way. Like, you don't have to feel that way. It's not a competition. I'm not trying to. I can't help it. Come and join in with me, and I'll help you, and I'll help you pick up a chick, whatever you want to do. And yeah, she goes, "No, he was jealous. He was jealous of you talking to me. He was jealous of you talking to anyone, because you had this ability to just be able to fit in with people."
But that's human nature, just like in general, anybody. I mean, I get stints of envy and things like that at times. Like, you see something, it doesn't like affect me where I'm just like, oh, I'm mad at that person. But there's certain things you see when someone's living their life, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're comfortable with who they are, they're living their life. And I feel I'm that way. But I'm still not living my ideal life to where I want to get to. So when I see people that have got to that point, it's just human nature in general, to where you see that and you're like, man, I envy that. Like, I want that. So you have to make the decision. If you want that, you got to do something about it yourself. You can't just get mad at that person. And a lot of people do that. They'll see you doing this. They'll see whatever. Well, that person's doing this, so I'm mad because I can't do it. Yeah, you can. You can do it. You just got to do it.
Do you think you've ever felt like that? I've never felt like that. Like, I see someone and go, oh,
no,
wow.
like you, like when I'm talking about you, like your life, like, right. You know, I use your story and how you live your lifestyle as a, man, I wish I had that. I don't have it right now because of the things I've done. So I envy, I don't want to fight you. Like, I just see your life as a small snip of envy where it's like, you know what? I want that too. So I'm going to go get it. But a lot of people, they don't do that. They just sit there and take that. Oh, that must be nice to be him. What's he doing? He's making decisions for himself. He's living a lifestyle that you can live too. You just have to stop doing what you're doing. So like, that's the difference with me and those people, where he's mad at you. He wants to fight you. And all it is like you said, just come over here. Like, come over here. I'll show you the stuff. You can come in and have a good time, but they don't want to because that's not, whatever. I can't do that.
Because I don't want you to be better. I can't be taught by you. I'm a man.
Things like that.
You know.
So, yeah.
But and I want that for him, and I want that for you. What you see in me, I want that for everyone. Like, I want to be that inspiration for people to see that it can be done if you want to do it. Like, going back to the beginning of this conversation, that's how I see the world, really. It's like, that's how I live in the world. So I want people to have what I have, even when I'm giving guitar lessons. Just like you told a story once, I think you were talking about when you did your video on you want to see them feel what you feel, and you're waiting for them to go, oh, this is a bit's coming up, and you're sort of looking out of the peripheral to see, you know, this reaction's coming. You know they're going to get this feeling in a minute, and you want them to feel what you feel. And it's the same with me, say, giving a guitar lesson to someone, or me wanting you to have the life that I've got. And so if I'm giving a guitar lesson to my neighbour's little 11-year-old girl, which I do from time to time, and she's anyone I'm giving a lesson to, I want them to feel what I feel, how good this is, and to sing with someone in harmony. That's such a great, I don't know if you have this, but me as an INFP, harmonies have always been a big thing for me, which harmony is like FE, isn't it? And that's like for ESFJs, they want harmony, anyone with FE. But for me, I mean the real harmony, like when two voices just blend in together perfectly, that I've always loved it. So being a big Beatles fan, so that's where I got the harmonies, that I got hooked on harmonies off them. So when I'm giving guitar lessons and we're singing together, there's just little beautiful moments, and they're experiencing what I'm experiencing. I know how good that feels, and I want them to feel it too. And then I want to see them feel that. It makes my day to give someone a feeling that they wouldn't have had before. They would never have had this feeling before if I didn't present it to them and help them get it.
But that's how YouTube is, though, for me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not some minimalistic lifestyle social media thing, but it's something that I'm trying to show that it can be possible. You know what I mean? It's like, So it's something that I'm passionate about. It doesn't mean you're going to jump on YouTube, but it's like there is somebody watching that sees this, and I guarantee there's envy that comes from people because they possibly thought about being a YouTuber one time, but it's like it's too hard because there's so many things that are hard with doing YouTube. It's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of pluses and minuses with it. So I fully know why a lot of people don't last long on YouTube or know why they do even start YouTube. But I'm just trying to, like, I get that goodness to where, like, it's showing that it's possible. If you just sacrifice some things, make a decision, you want to inspire people, you want to do whatever, but there's going to be people that are going to look at that the same. I mean, I guarantee there's people that watch me that get envious or whatever, and just, they don't like me just for the mere, not because of my content might be bad in that video. It's because, like, why is he doing that? Why is he going to do that and not me? It's human nature. So I know it goes on.
You'll probably get the opposite as well, where it's like you're making them look bad.
But it brings out the thing that my purpose is to inspire people, make connections. I have my purpose. It's not a harmful purpose. It's not to make people feel bad, but it does. It also ultimately, if someone doesn't have that ability to just say, hey, if I really want that, I'm going to go try to do that. But there's a lot of people that don't do that. They just sit back and be like, this guy's totally showing me that I suck and I can't do anything with my life. He's doing it. Like, you're doing it. You know, you're living your lifestyle and this and that I see. But it's like, I'm making changes to get better balance for myself. But there's people that just don't take those chances. So, like, I inadvertently create envy, which is not anywhere my intention. It's not. It's 100%. I don't want to make people feel bad. That's the worst thing I feel.
Yes, and you and I can see it. We can see it in the person. You're like, no, don't do this. Like, I don't get it. I get it.
No, I get it.
But I don't want you to have to feel that way. That's not what it's about. I'm just trying to accidentally inspire people, because going back to the analogy of the guitar playing thing, I'm really looking for someone to connect with. Again, back to the connection thing. What I'm looking for is that harmony and that connection with someone. Hey, you felt that too. We felt that together. You hear when the two voices collided and they blended in perfectly, that I don't know how to explain it. It's just this magic feeling where everything just blends in perfectly. You can get it with a guitar if you're playing like the harmonics.
The crescendo? Is that what that word is? No? What does crescendo mean? I don't know. Michael Jackson always said it.
Just the end, just the finale, the big bang at the end. No, it's more like, if I had a guitar here, I could give you an example where you get you got two guitars and you're both tuning together, or you're tuning guitar using harmonics, and you can hear this thing where once that guitar is perfectly in tune with this guitar, perfectly in tune, you'll hear this, like, you can't tell which guitar is making the sound, like which. You can actually hear like this
rhythm, just a sound wave or something.
Sound wave, like a freak, and if you can sort of get that in a vocal as well, if you can hit that perfect note together. So I've gone on a bit of a tangent just because I like that feeling. But yeah, I want. I want that buddy, and I want a playmate. I want a playmate to play with, to get that thing. It's like, love it with me. Love this with me. You're sitting at the movie, you're watching the movie, and it's your daughter, and you want her to enjoy this movie as much as you did when you were 10 years old or whatever, and you hit that moment and you see it in her face and you think, now we're in sync. We're syncopated. We're in unison, and I don't know. It's like you've got your buddy. You've got that you've got that buddy to play with, like someone who, hey, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's like,
no, I know. It's funny. Your frustration with like, dude, it's right there. I just can't get it out. It's like,
yeah.
that's what cracked me up. I'm not editing this part out. It's like those are the things that crack me up. I can't help it because I struggle with the same stuff. I get mad.
Well,
I'm like, oh, it's right there.
That's our struggle with TE. That's the trying to find the right word for the emotion. Yeah. It's like, and making sure it's truthful, making sure that's not the word. No, that doesn't describe it properly. It's more than that. And so when a friend of mine the other day, I was talking to, I was, and people jump in with a word and no, just shut up. I've got it. It's nearly there. And anyway.
It's going to hit you tonight when you're sleeping. You're going to wake up and be like, that's what it was.
But she said something, she was explaining me, and she knows me really well, and she nearly got it right. And we were playing guitar and singing or whatever, and I was trying to explain something, and she goes, well, you feel like this, don't you? This is the feeling you're getting? I said, yes, no, yes, no. And I'm debating back and forth. She's very close. I'm like, no, it's more nuanced than that. It's not just, no, there's more feelings than that. She's going, because she's INTJ. She has FI, but it's lower in the stack. And she's like, no. And she knows what I'm like, where I've got to be precise, more precise with the word and the feeling. And she says, you're feeling this. And I go, oh, yeah. No, I'm not. This, no, yes, no. It's like right in between that. It's like, it's more than that. It's a feeling you'll never know. You won't know this feeling because you don't know feelings like I know feelings. There's not just 4 feelings or angry, sad, frustrated, disappointed. There's more. There's way more. There's these little ones in between those ones and in between those ones. It's this one. It's that one there.
That's when you start creeping people out, when you start doing stuff like that. And they're like, what is wrong with you? That's where we mess up. Like we start telling about all those little micro things. And they're like, what is going on? I'm getting out of here.
Obviously, I'm exaggerating that point.
No.
That conversation didn't go quite like that, but I was just listening to myself, as I say, debating myself. I'm listening to myself debate all the time. You know how we go to say something, and as we're saying it, if it's not true, if it's not real, it doesn't feel, and you're like, I want to take that back in. This is the word. And it's like, is that right? Is that how I feel? No. Yes. No. Almost. It's like that. It's close. It's like, it's that TE problem, struggling to find the words that accurately describe the emotion. That's how I would explain it, I guess. Anyway, right, I think we've got enough.
Yeah, we got enough. This is officially my longest video.
I wasn't really nervous about it at all. Actually, I was a bit excited about it.
No, you had some pockets in there where you got really excited.
No, I mean prior, I thought about it today. I said, oh, yeah, I got to do this thing. Yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to it,
But that's how I am. It's weird because it's like I know leading up to all that, I've always talked to you about it. And you're like, oh, I don't know about all that. So, but now it's like when you finally do it and test it, you kind of know, like, because before you were kind of cautious back in the day when I used to bring it up. Hey, Wayne, want to get up? No, I don't know about that. Yeah. But once you do it, it kind of has this attraction to it. It's like, hey, I can kind of vent.
Even with the INFP thing, because of and you know how we want to blast it out if you use Dave's superpowers sort of thing where we want to teach it. Hey, check this thing out. It's really cool. Like, I want to tell you all about it. I've got to be careful of that because not everyone cares about MBTI, obviously.
Well, but again, that's why I'm targeting INFPs. Not everyone on my channel is INFPs, but like that's literally what it is. It's like, so like, yes, me and you are careful when we're out in the real world because of this and that. But like, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's cool targeting a bunch of like-minded people. There's a lot of people that are going to, what you and I say, they're going to resonate. And that's what's cool. So like for me, I've just come over the year and a half or whatever, is just not really being as careful as I would out there. That's why I like it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. That's what I was alluding to was now I don't care. Yeah. I'll just talk about it and they have to accept me for who I am. I won't do it to the point where they don't want to hang around me anymore. But I won't be afraid. Well, not that I was ever afraid, but it's given me a license to just giving me more.
Scream from the mountaintops. You just finally go out and just let it out.
Let the flag fly, yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't anyway. Like, everyone knows me at work. They're like, as in, Brett's the rebel. He just does whatever he likes, doesn't care about the rules, comes in late, goes hell for leather, gets out of here, like just gets in, gets out so he can go off and take a photo somewhere or whatever. Can't understand why I live out the back of my ute. And they accept me, and they just think, I've never really sat down and let them tell me what they think about me. I don't know exactly what they think about me, but you hear it on the floor. They'll be yelling out, making fun of me about certain things, and I just laugh along with it and joke around. I'm not worried about it. I turn it back the other way, like as in, no, everybody's doing it. Everybody's living out of the back of their car nowadays. You know, like it's the way to go. You know? So I've never worried anyway, but I'm just saying it's just giving me that agency or that license to, extra license to just think, yeah, this is how I am. I don't care what you think. I mean, I care, obviously, but not. I care about them, but you're never going to change me. Like, this is just the way I want to be.
Yep.
So what's the rest of the plans for you now? What time is it there?
Almost 11 a.m. So it's actually been almost 3 hours. Sorry.
That's what I thought before you. I thought we were close to 2 hours a while, but
I got to work on that fitness video, 30-day challenge right now. That was what I was going to be doing this morning.
Something else I was going to say.
We can save this for Brett part 2. Like, there's already going to be like 0.5% of the people are going to make it this far anyway.
What we haven't done, I just realized we haven't said see you later or goodbye or done that.
Well, we can do that now. So yeah.
How do you want to end it? Like,
all right, Brett, that's enough. We've talked for like 3 hours. Like, I'm like, that's way too much talking.
What?
I think it's time to go.
Can't we talk a little bit longer?
I know you're getting you're done. We can make Brett part 2. And I could send people over to your video, the little montage, the Brett early days. But no, we're done here.
But anyway, okay, yeah, well, thanks for the chat. And yeah, I hope people aren't too bored with listening to us rabbit on.
Then, like, most of them aren't going to hear this part. Like, I would say me and you are probably going to be the only ones that make it this far. So whatever we say right now, it's whatever.
I don't know that. I don't know.
No, there's going to be some, but it's I don't know. It's a good talk.
I mean, obviously the last 20 minutes isn't going to be in it, but
no, yeah, I'll cut that out. Just say
it's over. It's 2.5 hours. That is a long time. You might have to split it in 2, but even if you don't, I've watched 3-hour ones.
All right, let's hang up, Brett.
All right, cheers.
Good
night.
Cheers. I don't have any drink left. Good night. You're going. No, I'm just waking up.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Good night, good morning, good evening, whatever it is for you. All right, take it easy, mate.
Yep. Later.